What's up, Tackle Warehouse fans? Jake here with this week's episode of What's New at TW. So we're almost into December. If you need a holiday shirt, we got our new Christmas limited edition shirt if you're going to any holiday parties in the very near future. The first thing we're going to talk about, big day for Tackle Warehouse. So we now have combos and they're live on the website. So a very, very long time coming. We've been working on this project for actually a few months. There's been probably a stack of a few hundred combos sitting in our office, and we're trying to work out all the kinks of, how to put them on the website, all the pictures and all that stuff. But now, finally, we have combos available at Tackle Warehouse. So we have them from tons of different companies: Abu Garcia, Daiwa, Luz. We got Quantum, Zepco's, tons of different offerings. So if you're interested in combos and you're doing some holiday shopping, these also make a great gift and a little bit easier to buy for someone who's not too savvy with rod and reel setup. So if you've been interested in combos, saves you a little bit of money, get sweet setups like this Daiwa Tatula or the Abu Garcia Veritas combo, head on over to the website and you can check them all out right there. All right, next up, can't believe it's back. So we just got the Banjo Minnow kit. I can't believe we have this thing. I don't know how many hours I spent when I was a kid watching the infomercial, in the early 90s, sitting there just wanting to get my hands on this thing and wishing I had a credit card when I was like 7. So, so we got the Banjo Minnow. It comes in this kit. It's got a ton of different plastics in it, different sizes. It's got all the terminal gear that you need to rig it up. They got directions on the back on how to rig everything up. So, I mean, when you fish this bait, it really mimics like that soft jerkbait style of bait, the way it moves and darts around in the water. And they got a bunch of detailing on this thing, but something I thought about, I think this thing's actually going to be kind of a sneaky vibrating jig trailer, especially since there's a bunch of different sizes in the package, and spinnerbait trailer and stuff as well. It has that flat tail, so could be a sneaky option no one's thinking about for your vibrating jigs and your spinnerbaits. If you want to check it out, I believe they're like $32.99, something like that, and you get the whole kit. Next up, from Snag Proof, we got the new Zoe Dog and the Zoe Popper. These are really cool baits. Snag Proof used to have a bait like this walking bait right here. I forgot the name of it. It's been so long since it's been discontinued, but these are redesigned and revamped and super cool, unique baits. So, it has that body shape just like you would get with a traditional hard bait walking style bait, but it's a hollow body, kind of a hybrid between like a frog and a topwater walking bait. So completely soft hollow body design. Now you can throw your traditional walking style bait into places where you could never get one before. So since it does have that double frog hook on there, but I do like how they kind of dressed it up with the tail feather, like how you would with a regular topwater. But now in that weedless profile, you're not going to snag those trebles on anything. So you can throw it into those little pockets, maybe where you just tried to land your walking bait and just tried to walk it a few times and pop it right out. Now you can throw it into all that nasty stuff and get that profile in action in places you'd never be able to get them before. Same thing with the popper. It looks just like a hard body popper bait. The edges and everything are really sharp and clean. I'm surprised at how well they did with these baits. But again, in that fully weedless profile, and the colors that they printed on the side of these are immaculate. And they put the 3D eyes on there. I mean, it looks super, super close to a hard bait. So now you're going to be able to get those poppers and those walking baits into places where you've never been able to get them before. Super cool baits. One thing is, well, there's a lot of frogs that will walk and a lot of frogs that pop, but you're not going to get these profiles and those smaller presentations. Just going to be a little bit more finessey. Super cool baits there from Snag Proof. All right, from Yamamoto, another kind of small bait. The new 3-inch Yamacraw just showed up. So we covered this one at ICAST, and we're super stoked to get this thing. It's going to be good for your more finesse presentations when you don't want that full 4-inch craw size. I think it's going to be great for a jig trailer. And it has this nice segmented body. You can cut it down really nice and get it on those smaller finesse jigs, which are going to be key coming up in the wintertime. This is also made out of Yamamoto's new Mega Floater plastic. So the claws will stick up in the air when your jig's down there on the bottom. So it's not going to, and it's going to be a little bit tougher than some of the other Yamamoto plastics. The traditional Cinco plastic, we all know you catch a couple fish and those things tear up quick, but it's that salt that gives it the action. These, you don't need all that salt in there. It's going to have great action with those kicker legs. but then it's going to float up and stand in that natural craw position. But it still has enough meat in the body. You can get a small flipping hook in there if you want a really, really small flipping style bait. Another small one from Hog Farmer, another one I'm pretty pumped about. So this is the Micro HD Underspin. So we got it in 1/4 ounce and 3/8 ounce. I hope they come out with a little bit heavier one here in the near future, but it's got a 2/0 hook on there. So built to accommodate those smaller soft plastic swim baits. So if you want that underspin and you want to throw those a little bit smaller soft plastic baits, you need something that's got that small hook. So it's, it's not all the way into the tail and it's not ripping up those smaller finesse style baits. Definitely check out the new Hog Farmer Micro HD. And it says it's micro, but like they said, it's HD, so you can still set the hook 12, 15-pound line with like a medium heavy rod and have not worry about bending the hook out. So really cool underspin. Can't wait to try these out here in the upcoming fall and wintertime fishing season. True Bass has got this new True Lock forward-facing sonar jig head. So a bunch of these are hitting the market. A lot of them, putting that extra weight down there underneath the shank of the hook, get those baits to run a little bit more horizontal. This one kind of has some scoops in the face of it, so helping with that sonar return, especially when you have those really long casts and you're just trying to get the sonar to ping off these things and know exactly where the bait's at. If you're doing a lot of forward-facing sonar fishing, that's gonna be a great jig head to throw in the arsenal. Maybe something you might want to throw on that. We got a few from Evergreen. This first one here is, well, we got a couple of their new Ace series. So we got them in a few different sizes. If I was throwing it on that jig head, probably go with this little 3-inch guy. I mean, super small. These are really cool. I think they're gonna be great for, the small one especially gonna be great for a drop shot. They just have a little bit more detail than some of the other bait fish drop shot style profiles on the market with the extra fins and the little tail on there. So they're gonna quiver, really subtle action. If you jump up to the bigger size, it actually has a slot in the belly here, so you can open that up. So you can rig this one a few different ways. So they sink, it is a sinking bait, I'm sorry, this one is a sinking bait, the 3-inch. This one is a floating bait, but you can rig it up on a weighted EWG hook, and they're gonna shimmy and get some really cool movement. But it's not gonna have that big tail kick like you would get with a swim bait. And then, you can rig this up on a drop shot. You can do a bunch of different stuff with it. It's a 4-inch bait, but, really slim, really looks realistic with the eyes on there, the gill plates, the fins, paint jobs. Super cool baits there from Evergreen. The next one here, this new Bass Enemy bait. So, again, kind of with that shad profile, but this one with that small pintail, I've used a lot of baits like this in the past, and they're deadly on a drop shot, especially in the wintertime when it's really cold. You don't have to do anything to them, and that little tail is gonna wiggle. You can remove this part right here and rig them up on a jig head however you want. But however, this little guy that they put on there, we couldn't figure out what it was for at first. So if you want to rig this up on a jig head, throw it for suspended fish, throw it on an underspin, twitch it along the bottom. You rig it up on a jig head, and that little piece of plastic is basically a built-in weed guard. You bury it right there into the point of the hook, and you have a completely weedless, a weedless soft plastic bait, a little weedless shad. But with the weed guard built in there, it's going to be way more effective than your standard bristle fiber weed guard. So really cool bait, loaded with scent and salt. You can see the table up here. These few baits right here, super greasy. So when fish are going to bite onto these, they are not going to let go. Another one from Evergreen is this new flap craw. Now, I've seen a few of these baits out there on the market, a few of these style of craws, and it seems like they're mostly all coming from Japan, and it's a kind of a new style craw bait, and they're becoming ever increasingly popular here in the U.S. So with these flappers on here with those appendages, they're not like your regular old crawdads with 2 legs and they're going to kick up and down individually. With these styles of legs, what it gets the bait to do is to swim up and down, but with the legs together, and it really looks like a crawdad swimming in the water column. Super cool. So you can do a bunch of stuff with them. You can throw them on drop shots, Texas rigs, Tokyo rigs, Carolina rigs, whatever you want to do. On this one specifically from Evergreen, they've got a bunch of great colors. They're loaded with scent and salt, and I feel like they're going to be deadly, especially when it's tough out there. Clearwater fishery, you got a lot of guys fishing. If you're fishing a lot of tournaments, something like this might give you that extra edge to get you a few more bites when everyone's just fishing the same regular old craw baits that we've all been fishing for 20 years. try something a little bit different. That's going to wrap up today's episode of What's New at Tackle Warehouse. For more information or to purchase any of these products seen here today, click shop or link in the description below. If you enjoyed this week's video, subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments which one of these products you're most excited about.